Hello and welcome to this Hurricane Helene update at 7 p.m. on September 26th, 2024. And this thing is a monster. Looking at it on the satellite, you can see it's still strengthening. It's got the classic donut look to it. It's really, you can tell this is a major, major hurricane. Look at the convection around there. We got several satellite loops we're going to look at as well. But this is the first one we're looking at here, just the static one. And you can see all the convection going on, and also look at GLM flash intensity. Show you the lightning as well. You can see there's convection around the edges here. So I'll just show you the lightning one. This one always takes a little bit longer to load. You can see here the center of it is pretty well defined. Yeah, this one just doesn't want to load. These sites are being very, very slow because there's probably a lot of people using them. So instead of that, we'll just go right to the Helene loop. So we'll go right to the Helene loop here. This is the Helene loop. You can see how slow it's loading. You can clearly see the classic look to it. Yeah, it's really moving along very slowly, but you can see here there's a look at that, especially as it is approaching. So this is a rapidly strengthening hurricane as it is approaching. You can also see how fast it is moving as well. It is moving very, 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 very fast. And we could also put on the GLM flash intensity, but there's no reason to do that because we have a very good view of it right here. We know it's strengthening. And you can see that there's a lot of moisture here, and you see all the dry air on this side of the storm, but the storm's got the Gulf of Mexico. It's got all the gas it needs right now. We're going to go here and look at also the tropical tidbit site is also being very slow. So we'll look at this satellite loop as well. And yeah, it's saying bad gateway now. So yeah, it looks like we have a lot of issues here with the satellite imagery pulling this up. It's just everything is overloaded. Really shows you we need to have better capacity for all this stuff. But you can see here we go, and yeah, that's the enhanced satellite imagery, and you can see, I mean, that is a monster that is heading into this area of Florida and Georgia, and it is moving. It is really hauling. Look at that. That's just incredible. So let's get the latest from the National Hurricane Center on Helene. We also have Isaac and another area. So the tropics are finally starting to heat up now. In a big way. So let's go to the latest public advisory on Helene. Helene is a very dangerous and large major hurricane. Damaging hurricane winds and catastrophic storm surge expected to begin in the Florida Big Bend this evening. As of 5 p.m., its location is 27.9 north, 84.6 west, about 130 miles west of Tampa, Florida, about 175 miles south of Tallahassee, Florida. Maximum sustained winds are 125 miles an hour. Moving north-northeast at 23 miles an hour, and the minimum central pressure 951 millibars to 8.09 inches. So a lot of people saying this is going to become a Category 4. I think it will, even though the models kind of backed off from it. Well, they probably didn't. I didn't check them. I'll check them again soon. But you can see here we got all these warnings in effect here for this pretty much hurricane. You'll look at the map, you'll see it's easier to understand. So 5 p.m. again, the eye is located in 27.9 north longitude, 84.6 west. Helene is moving toward the north-northeast at 23 miles an hour. It's moving pretty fast, and that continued fast motion to the north-northeast is expected through landfall in the Florida Big Bend this evening. After landfall, Helene is expected to turn northwestward and slow down near over the Tennessee Valley on Friday and Saturday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 125 miles an hour. That makes Helene a Category 3 hurricane. But additional strengthening is expected, and Helene will likely be an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane at landfall. Weakening is expected after Helene moves inland, but the fast forward speed will allow strong, damaging winds, especially in gusts, to penetrate well inland. And that includes over the higher terrain of the southern Appalachians. It's also a very large storm, too, as well. Hurricane wind Hurricane force winds extend out up to 60 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend out up to 310 miles from the center. A weather station at Venice Municipal Airport recently reported a sustained wind of 46 miles an hour and a gust of 69. Another observation near Venice Beach reported a sustained wind of 51 miles an hour with a gust to 86. And again, the minimum central pressure is 951 millibars to 8.09 inches. So we're going to look at the hazards map here again and just show you what is going on. Looking at the warning cone here. And again, this doesn't really show you the whole thing, but you can see it shows the whole area that is being affected now by this. And it's almost the entire state of Florida feeling some of the effects. We already have a lot of power outages in Florida. Go over that. And you can see. So let's look at another map here. I think they have a couple of... yeah, here we go. That's not quite the map I want to show you. Look at the wind speed probabilities here. Yeah, see that purple pretty much covering almost all of Florida and Georgia. So that is very disturbing. So the tropical storm force, and then we can go and look at the hurricane force winds as well. Hurricane wind speed probability. And you can see that also extends pretty decent inland there. And I think that might be underestimated a little bit. The other concern, storm surge inundation. This is a kind of a fancy map here. But you can see all these areas here are going to have to deal with storm surge as well. Peak surge. So this is what's really scary. 15 to 20 feet along this whole coast of Florida. And even around Tampa Bay, you're still going to see up to 9 feet. So, yeah, this is going to be bad. This is going to be a very bad disaster for Florida. And then for the tornado potential, we've got to go to the SPC because we're going to also see tornado enhanced risks all throughout this whole area here. Because as this thing, so see on the right side of the storm, there's going to be very high risks of tornadoes in this area as well. So there's a lot going on. We're going to now look at some of the observations going on in the area right now, just to show you the worst of it's offshore, obviously. Look at that, 82 with a dew point of 82. You can tell how tropical this air is. Very tropical air here. 84 with a dew point of 80 at this buoy. No reports on the wave heights. We'd like to find some with the wave heights if that's possible. It's funny how they showed up, now they're gone. That's kind of weird. I really would like the wave height, some wave height readings if that's possible. But I don't see any wave height readings, unfortunately. I don't know why they just disappeared like that. Maybe this one has wave heights. 17 feet at Egmont Channel. That's a lot. Oh, and this buoy here, Sarasota Airport, now gusting to 70. So the center's not even near them, and they're already gusting to almost hurricane force. South wind at 44, gusting to 70. 82 with a dew point of 79. Even if you're on the east coast of Florida, you're still feeling the effects. Cocoa Beach, south-southeast wind at 37, gusting to 47. 82 with a dew point of 78. So, yeah, real tropical air that's coming with this storm. Very tropical air. Yeah, really, looks like we already have a tornado warning over here. Yep. Tornado warning for western Doherty, northeastern Baker. I guess we'll go to the radar next. So, here is Helene, and you'll see there's the eye right there, eye wall, very intense eye wall. But they're already getting the outer bands, and there's numerous severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings outside of these outer bands. And look how far north the range stretches. It goes all the way up, almost into southern Ohio. This is the rain from Helene. We're probably not going to see much of that, but I'm not even going to be talking about our weather at all in this tonight. We're going to be following Helene. Power outages. Let's go to that. We have 291,553 customers without power right now in Florida already. mainly on the west coast. Not surprising with those wind gusts that we're seeing that. It's mainly on the west coast of Florida. East Coast not seeing too many outages. Palm Beach is seeing 6,000. Broward 4,000, but the higher amounts are in Manatee County where you got 31,000, 38,516. So these are the higher amounts in these areas. But the Big Bend is probably going to have a complete outage when this thing makes a landfall. I mean, with these kind of winds, I don't think any. I don't care how tough your infrastructure is. I think there's going to be a complete outage with these kind of with this kind of thing. So we're going to just look a little bit at the model here. At the models. So we'll go right here. We'll go to the models. If we can. The site is being very slow, so I might have to use a different site. Yeah, we're having problems with this, so I'm going to go and look at. We'll have to use Ventu Sky, which is another site. Bear with me. Oh, we have more radars to show you too. Let's look at the Tallahassee one. So you can see there's that tornado warning right there. Yep, there it is. Tornado warning. And all these thunderstorms. So there's, again, a tornado warning right there. And you're going to see a lot of that. I'm not going to be able to even post all of them. All right. But they're going to be popping up all over the place. You're going to have these quick spin ups because of the interaction on the right side of the storm with the land. Okay. What were we going to look at? Oh, the models, right? Okay. So let's do that. Ventu Sky. We'll go look at Ventu Sky first, and then we'll do windy.com. And briefly talk about the two other storms, too, because there are two other storms out there as well that are being watched toward the end of this video, because I'm not going to bring it up again. All right, wind gusts. So here you go. This is the Ventu Sky. This is using the HRRR model. Obviously, you can see it's going to strengthen some more. We're going to see how fast this thing's going to move here. You see it's going to pick up strength as it moves inland. So I think it's going to landfall as a Category 4, definitely. You can see it continue to pick up strength. And this is the HRRR model. Has the actual landfall probably after 10 o'clock or so. Look at some of these winds on the right side of the storm. It's pretty incredible to see. And you can see here, that's going to penetrate well inland. So Tallahassee is going to be, it looks like, on the left side of the storm. So the worst side is the right side. So Gainesville is a fairly large city, so they're going to have to deal with some of the problems. And then this thing makes it into, and you can see it, and then it makes it into Georgia. It's crossing the Georgia state line after midnight, and then it's going to race through Georgia. And you can see, still seeing some very strong wind gusts in Georgia here. Looks like Albany, Georgia is spared. It's mostly the right side of the storm where the winds are the worst. But you still have a lot of these other towns in Georgia that are going to have a lot of problems. It looks like Atlanta will also. It won't be a direct hit over Atlanta. It looks like it's going to the east of Atlanta, fortunately. So these are somewhat less populated areas of Georgia, but still, there's going to be a lot of power outages and a lot of damage from the wind. And still, even tomorrow at 10 in the morning, we're still seeing Knoxville, Kentucky, still seeing a lot of wind in these areas, and there's going to be a lot of power outages as a result. As you head further north, the power infrastructure is not all that good, so you're going to have a lot of power outages. There's going to probably be millions and millions of people left without power from this storm. Here we are, 2 o'clock, and you can see now it's affecting Ohio, Cincinnati a little bit. Yeah, you can see the thing is just going to sit there pretty much. Louisville, and you can still see they're still dealing with the winds. This is tomorrow night now. Still dealing with the winds. Still seeing some pretty strong wind gusts. It's going to take a while because it's getting absorbed into this low, so it's getting more energy out of it, and that's the thing. That's what we're seeing. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. I could also show you windy.com, which is the European one. And again, unfortunately, Tropical Tidbits, we're having some problems here. And you can also see this is, I think that's Isaac. This is Isaac over here. You can see Isaac over here. Also, we'll switch this over to wind gusts. I'm only looking at the models now. After that, it's just going to be now casting. These are the model. This is the models here for the European. So let's take a look at the European. You can see how fast this thing races too. You can see where that white is. All those areas in white are going to have almost 100%. There's going to be a lot of wind damage and a lot of power outages. Actually, Augusta, Georgia is a major city, so that will wind up getting hit very hard by this. Of course, we haven't even spoken about the rainfall. We kind of went over that yesterday. If I could get tropical tidbits to work again, we can go over that. But you can see here the Euro winds it down a little faster than the HRRR icon. But still, it's got a lot of wind for these areas, though. The placement's a little different. Places it a little more to the northwest than the HRRR does. We can also look at the GFS as well on this site as well. So I don't think there's really going to be that many differences between the models at this point. GFS is too weak. Yeah, that's way too weak. Not even gonna go there at this point. So we'll see if we can get tropical tidbits to work again. If I go to the models and see if we can get it to work again, but it's getting a lot of traffic on the site, so it's having a lot of problems. Obviously, not a surprise, but yeah, you are currently offline, or your network connection, or we aren't able to show you the page you requested. But I'm not offline, so I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's definitely, we have some kind of issue with tropical tidbits right now, unfortunately. So let's go to the Hurricane Center site, and hopefully they can. It's just getting overloaded. It's getting overloaded, it really is. Let's go to the. It's one of the best sites out there, so that's why it's getting overloaded. But let's go to some of the other ones. Just briefly touch on them here. At least we can get the satellite imagery to work. So that's the main thing, because we're now casting anyway. I'm not really going to look at the models at this point. Isaac. This is Isaac. Isaac's not going to bother anybody, but it could still become a hurricane. We'll briefly go over what it is. Isaac continuing eastward with no change in strength. As of 5 p.m., its location 37.5 north, 50.6 west, about 1,000. It's out in the middle of the ocean, basically. I'm just going to go over maximum sustained winds 50 miles an hour, moving east at 10, and its minimum central pressure is 29.39 inches. And it is not a big storm. Extent of wind was only 60 miles from the center. This is going to be out in the ocean, and I think this formed from that storm that was sitting off the coast that we were dealing with last week. That was luckily off. We were just getting some clouds from it, and well, Cape Cod was getting all the rain. And then there's another area they're watching, 90% chance of cyclone formation. This is another area here that they're going to be watching as well. And we'll be talking about all that tomorrow and probably through the weekend, because it's a lot. Well, I usually take Saturday night off, but we'll see what happens as far as these storms go. Helene, again, maximum sustained winds 125 miles an hour. We have the latest update at 7 p.m. now. So now Helene has just become a Category 4 hurricane, right? Oh, we're doing the update here. Helene is now a Category 4. And so they've updated 7 p.m. Location 28.3 north, 84.4 west, about 110 miles west of Tampa, Florida, at about 145 miles south of Tallahassee. Maximum sustained winds are now 130 miles an hour, moving north-northeast at 23 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 945 millibars, 27.91 inches. This thing is strengthening very rapidly. I wouldn't even put it past the possibility that we may even see this landfall as a Category 5 hurricane. So as you can see, it's going through some very rapid strengthening. And you could clearly see that when we were looking at the satellite, and we're going to go back to that right now. Actually, see if at least we get the Tidbits satellite to load again. Probably should keep that up on the screen, being that I don't know if we're going to be able to get that. This is the other satellite from the one that kind of follows this storm here. I know there were hurricane models I could have gone over yesterday too as well, but I don't like using those generally. There's no point in looking at the models. We knew this was going to be a huge storm, and sure enough, it is a huge storm. And we have southern Mississippi Valley too. Let's see if we can. No, that's not going to show anything. I want to go back to that southeast one. southeast one was really a good one. That really showed things up. Yeah, this one. This. I just wish I could get it in the center of the screen. I can move it over a little bit. Look at this. I mean, that. I think we'll leave you with that image on this update. So things are going to get progressively worse, and I'll be updating you again around the usual time, 10 o'clock, on Hurricane Helene. Now has just become a Category 4. Look at that. Yeah, you could see it. You could see the look of the eye when it does that. When it kind of like it's triangulated a little bit. That's a strengthening hurricane. And so, yeah, it's not outside the realm of possibility. This might even landfall as a Category 5, but definitely a very powerful Category 4 hurricane, and probably one of the worst hurricanes to hit Florida and also Georgia in recorded history.